So if you've been following the development of Marvel Studios since the early days, you know that more or less all the directors and actors became good friends. They would meet together, they would discuss ideas, they would talk about collaborating with certain character aspects, and of course when it came to the big Avengers movies, everybody was involved to try to deliver one sort of coherent narrative that built them up, so they all worked together. We saw this in a giant roundtable meeting that was part of Avengers Infinity War release. So there's a lot that went on behind the scenes that a lot of other studios cannot do. Now, as it turns out, James Gunn, one of the guys that of course helped the MCU get as big as it is just as shocked as we are that Scott Derrickson left Doctor Strange 2. So there's been a lot in regards to James Gunn that's happened over the course of the last 2 years. We know that he was heavily involved with setting up the future of the MCU, as was Scott Derrickson when it came to Doctor Strange 2. He worked on it for years, and then suddenly, just a few weeks ago, we find out he's gone. Well, James Gunn recently did talk about this, and to not, go into all the details and everything, you guys can find articles just by looking it up if you want, but I'll toss it up on the screen here, at least one of them as well, which is kind of easily just talking about it. The crux of the story is James Gunn was just about as shocked as everybody else about this happening, and he has no idea why it happened. Now again, remember, Scott Derrickson has been working on Doctor Strange 2 and talking to Marvel Studios and all these other people and helping them figure details out to set up the future for his film ever since the first one came out. We know for a fact that he was helping the Russo brothers be like, oh, let's talk about these elements of Doctor Strange and certain things that he can and can't do because he was heavily involved with Doctor Strange, just like James Gunn was involved with the Guardians, right? And that's why they get producer credits, and that's why they get called in, that's why they were talking about other stuff. Derrickson even talked about how he was looking at the approach to WandaVision and Loki and how he was involved with that, making sure everything kind of clicks together and it all goes in the, same direction. Again, these studio people work together. That's the difference with Marvel Studios and everybody else. You currently look at the DCEU, Matt Reeves isn't talking to anybody. He's not talking to James Gunn. He's not talking to the people behind Birds of Prey. It's just kind of an independent thing. Marvel Studios, you talk to everybody because they have a set goal and a direction. And it's interesting to see that not even James Gunn, somebody this very close to it, who's recently been back in the fold to develop the next film, is completely out of the loop. That just tells you how unexpected it is, and whatever was happening behind the scenes is bigger than most of us believe, because if it was a minor thing, they would have been able to work it out. But something fishy is going on over at Marvel Studios with this film, and the more we keep hearing about it, the weirder it gets.